Okay, so now we want to do the hands. We leave the head as it is, so it's still rough, of course, but that's all what we want to do for now. So, and let me do the hands now. Maybe I do on this side. We have symmetry on anyway, and I want to keep the fingers close together, so to save time, so to say. And we learned in the foot tutorial already that that we can separate the fingers later in the retopology. Whoops, what is? Okay. I think I turn off the other figure now, so that that's my own figure here, that we can look inside. Okay, so we need to use a masking brush, invert the mask, and now I hide masked area, and now we can work on the hands without the view obstructed by the body part. So okay, cut even deeper, and now again I'm not doing very detailed hands. I'm just trying to bring in enough that when you follow this sculpting along with your own, that you then afterwards are in a position with your sculpt that you can clean it up alone without my guidance. Since you know from other tutorials that the most important part is to get the rough shapes correct, and then a lot of the other work is just hard work, but it's easy, just cleaning up. And so I try to indicate here a little the tendons. Here's skin stretching over, and let me see, the hand is a little too wide, I guess, something like that, and we need to cut in here more to get the fingers correct. Now it starts looking good. Now good is exaggerated, I agree, but it starts looking a little more like a hand. So this is too far, and you see, as always, we rotate and try to, this was not so good, you should cut here, try to understand our sculpt. We don't do detailing the fingers like fingernails here. So we know the fingers are, the longest finger is this second finger, so I need to pull out a little more here, I guess, and cut in the groove a little more clearly. And then I need to add a little material here to get the finger in about the right length, and then I cut in here to separate these two, and finally here. So you see we come from quite coarse polygons, so it's a little rough still. I think I have, this is not wide enough here, so I add more material. Okay, and now the pinky finger is the shortest one. using the draw brush I can more quickly add material. And now straighten these lines here. Okay, straighten this line here. So it's almost squarish, so let's see. So the highest point should be here, and then it should bend down to the sides. So with this scrape brush I push this down a little here to get this curve, you know. The hands are not completely flat but a little curved. Okay, that's almost all what I want to do with the hands here. Okay, so now let's cut in these creases here and the fingers. Here's a pinky finger. That was not too good. Fill in the material again. Cut once more, a little more here and here. Okay, zoom in a little more to see clearer. Okay, so we have the slightly crooked, but we can clean up this later easily. That's not a big deal. So let's make the detail size again a little smaller, something like 2 or 3, to be able to make these separations a little more precise. And you see, I remember the proportions we learned about the fingers. So they are more round. I remove from the sides to make the grooves deeper and add a little in the middle so that I get a more cylindrical shapes. Here's a little material missing. Okay, that's good. Here we need to remove a little, and here we need cut deeper to separate them better. And as you learned in the foot tutorial, we can later, when we would retopo our figure, bring in five separated fingers easily. That's not a big deal then. So we don't need to do it now in the sculpting session, because this would be quite complicated in sculpting, because the fingers are so close together. But we could do it later in the in the retopo, and then we would sculpt once more over it with multi-res or in ZBrush with subdivision surfaces, and then we clean up everything, and we could pose, if we wish, the hand also in a different position, because we have now a rather neutral, how is it pronounced in English, neutral position for our hand. And maybe we would like to have the hand holding something, or which is not established now here. Okay, not completely pretty, but it will go. And now let me finally indicate these knuckles here, and that goes in a little between them. So we can, I think that's enough detail for the sculpt. We don't want to have a detailed sculpt. I just want to clean it up just a little more so that the shapes read well. You see, I am trying to do this planar work really to emphasize the forms, and even though they are still rough, I think we can really understand that this is a hand and not something else. I filled in a little material here, was too much of a hollow. Okay, so now we need a little more of the transition to the arm, and then I think we leave the hand as is. This comes in rather flat here. Okay, that's good. Here's this indent. Oops, that was not the best thing I have done. So let me see, where's this bone? This is about here. Okay, I think that is good. And of course we could use refinement anyway, but for a quick hand it will do. So let's show the whole sculpt, show all, and remove the mask, Alt M, and now zoom in to see where we are. And now that we have sculpted the hands, I'm not sure if the sizes, they look a little on the small side. Yes, I think they are a little too small. Okay, so they are a little too small. When I imagine that these hands cover the face, as we can imagine that they stretch the fingers. Fingers are also a little on the small side, so I first will lengthen the fingers a little, try to look exactly from here. Maybe I should fix some so that we don't accidentally make them just a little longer. Yes, I think it was only the fingers. Now it looks, the fingers need still be a little longer. Let me see from inside. Yes, that was it. Okay, now when we imagine he makes his hand flat, then the thumb needs adjustment now. Then we can imagine that this hand covers his face, and so it's in good proportions. I just want to bring also the length of the thumb. This is still okay. He needs to be able that the thumb can touch here at the middle joint when the hands and like this, and I think he just cannot do this, so we need to lengthen his thumb a little larger. Okay, I think now he is able to grab to Yes, and it looks correct from the other views too. Ah, okay, I see I messed a little here with the mask, so we need to clean up this quickly. But that's a good thing about Dynatopo in Blender. It replaces such messy areas just with new polygons, and it's quickly, without smoothing trouble or something, such areas go away. So that's much better than in ZBrush. Okay, so the next video we do the feet just a little bit more, and then we pose our figure. Okay, so we want to now refine the feet and maybe a little of the legs some more, so that so let's check once more if the feet are large enough. I think they are a little small, so let's see the measuring tool. Go into orthographic view. Okay, they came a little forward, which is not the best thing, so the first thing I do is to push them. They should stay behind this center line, for the reason is that this gives a stability for the figure. So if you sculpt it and the feet are too far forward, then the figure will look as if it falls over. And since I now don't want to adjust the okay, my view was wrong. Okay, it's perfect. We did perfect. So maybe the knee could go a little further back, but it's still okay. So let's see how large is the foot. The foot should be about 1 1/3 of the head, or 1.5, depending. And yes, it could be just a little longer, but it need not be necessarily. So I remove this tool again and go back into perspective mode, and I think I want to pull it just a tiny little bit forward, making his feet just a little bit longer. And now I try to quickly bring in just a little more structure to refine the foot. So let me carve in where the toes will be, the big toe, and the other toes are grabbing to the floor, as we know. So I indicate this by these two slopes, and the big toe is pointing upwards a little more. And is generally much wider than the others. So why is this so? Maybe it's too fine. The more polygons we have, the harder the posing will be, and since in this case we have the recording also running, we definitely don't want to have too many polygons before posing. But on the other hand, I don't want to sculpt on the foot in posed position. This would be just too much work for the tutorial, and it's boring because you already know how the foot should look like. Oops, I'm sorry, wrong button. And as I said, we learned in the in the foot tutorial that we again can do this foot with not separated toes, and then don't get the number of toes wrong, otherwise it would look really odd. So as I said, we don't go too much into detail, but I want to have it that we can see a little better how the foot look like. And we know this goes deep in here because they are bent like this. And the little toes most of the time bend even more. So let's cut once clear here and separate. I mean, it's not really necessary to do in a figure sculpt because you wouldn't see the feet anyway in a pose like we want to do. Okay, and here we should carve in a little because a big toe is pointing upwards. That means we need to go down here a little and make it rounder here. Okay, and as a final I want to bring in somewhat where these tendons are. Okay, so that's what I want to do at the toes. And now let's see from the side. It looks pretty good. This here should go something like that. And you see I still try to maintain the shapes. This should be a little more like this. We brought in and correct and refine where we haven't got in the first place completely correct. And I'm using now rather soft strokes as to not too much destroy the forms I had. You see how I softened this strong one and I brushed over slightly and added just a very slightly material to get let me see here, should come out a little more. Okay, it's rather boxy here at the end, so we clean it up. So the heel area, cartilage, and here the transition is not correct. You see it's more cleaning up. We had his feet are rather small, rather the width is not very good. I think I want to correct this. So let's look completely from the top, from the bottom. Use a snake hook brush, and so that I not is this not a snake hook brush? No, nothing happened. Something like that, and this should be a little more. Oops, that was too much. Okay, so correct this now in the side view. Take out the boxiness a little. And look from underneath, we have this cushion not completely filled in here. Okay, let me see. Yes, now our foot is much better in proportion, and I think we leave the foot like it is. So let me see. The only thing what is still not very nice is yes, maybe the breast area could need a little more work. So let's go in here once more and refine. So we keep essentially what we did, but let me see, I want to make a detail size not as small. As I said, we want to keep the polygon count not too low, not too high, as otherwise we will struggle in a minute to pose our figure, and of course we won't do this. Okay, so I think I want to have this a little more round and cut in already. Yes, this was good. A little more. So remove a little to soften. And now we can bring in the nipples, and let me see. I think they should sit here. Oops, wrong brush. X is a draw brush. Funny. So let's put on the measuring tool and our figure also. Okay, so let's see in orthographic view. We have these nipples too far out. Front. They should be one head apart. They're considerably more apart. So this means, yes, this means I should come in here. So this means the breast muscle is too wide here. So I think they should go here. So I draw them here for orientation, about here. And then we need to adjust the breast muscle. So go back into this view, remove the tool, and so we need to wrong brush. That's why it curves not as I hoped it would do. Ah yes, okay, so now we see again better the structure of the but to me it looks still wrong. I want to have them a little more here. So let's see on the other figure. Yes, I think now we are in a better shape. Should round this a little, and then we call this, oops, again wrong brush, then we call it done here. And I want to bring in these muscles here a little more, and this navel also. So, but I don't want to make too much here, because after posing this will change a little. and bring in navels about here. Maybe that was a little too low, and this was a little too low, so smooth it away and cut in once more a little higher, something like here. Okay, I think our figure is ready for posing, and so we go on for this now. I'm still not happy. It's I'm sorry, I can't see that here the muscles are not wide enough. Here should be a little more. And we should see here a little more of this, and push this back. Okay, that's much better. Okay, still rough, but much more in shape now. Okay.